On the day of the Qiqiao Festival in my past life, Zhao Lin, the heir of the Marquis of Amping, took the red string symbolizing marriage that was meant for me and tied it around his maid's wrist. His actions made me the laughingstock of the entire capital because everyone knew I was his childhood sweetheart and fiancé, just waiting for him to propose and finalize the marriage. I was both ashamed and furious at the time and had a huge fight with Zhao Lin. His maid was so ashamed and indignant that she threw herself into the lake after returning. Zhao Lin wasn't angry with me and still married me according to our engagement, but on our wedding night, he drowned me in the lake. He said,
Yun Qian was timid. How scared she must have been drowning at the bottom of the lake all alone. This is what you owe her. You must pay her back with your life.
When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day of the Qiqiao Festival. In front of everyone, Zhao Lin gently placed that red string into his maid's hand.
Yun Qian has never seen the Qiqiao Festival, nor has she ever received a red string. I promise to grant her one wish. Let her have the red string this time. We don't need these things between us. And there is still next year, the year after, and every year after that.
I didn't make a scene. I just nodded silently. In this life, I had already made up my mind to accept my father's previous arrangement and enter the palace in 3 days to become the crown princess. The jeers of those noble young masters were still ringing in my ears. I snapped back to reality, realizing I had been reborn. Right back to the day of the Qiqiao Festival. Zhao Lin's maid, Yun Qian, blushing, walked up to me holding that red string. She timidly offered the red string to me, but her hand gripped it tightly.
Miss Shangguan, it is all Yun Qian's fault. This red string was originally meant for you. I'm just a servant girl the heir saved. Of lowly birth. I haven't seen much of the world. The heir saw that I was pitiful and said yesterday he could grant me one birthday wish. I had never seen a Qiqiao Festival red string, so I said I wanted one. I didn't know what meaning it held, but I know Lady Shangguan likes the heir in her heart. It is Yun Qian who ruined your good moment. I am sorry, Lady Shangguan.
This red string was given to you by your heir. Just keep it.
Exactly, Lady Shangguan has liked the heir for years. It doesn't matter if she gets a red string this year or not. Haha.
Anyway, whether heir Zhao gives it to her or not,
She'll still follow by heir Zhao's side all the same. Zhao Lin walked over, looking tenderly at Yun Qian. Seeing her timid appearance, he said softly,
Qingqing is not such a petty person. Since I gave it to you, it is yours. Just keep it safe.
After speaking, he took the string and carefully tied it around her wrist. That spot of red on Yun Qian's wrist stung my eyes. And standing together, compared to when Zhao Lin and I stood together, they looked more like a pair of lovers. They had long lost the appearance of master and servant. In my previous life, they were like this too, but I just couldn't see through it, which was why I flew into a rage out of humiliation and had a huge fight with Zhao Lin. Pitifully foolish. Anyone with eyes could see that Zhao Lin's heart and eyes were entirely on this little maid. Everyone was teasing them.
the heir dotes on the maid Yun Qian so much. When you get married, what will she do? You might as well take her as a concubine.
Lady Shangguan is the legitimate daughter of a century-old noble family. She is dignified and generous. Would she really not tolerate a maid? You all are worrying for nothing.
Heir apparent Yun Qian is just a maid. How is she worthy of the heir apparent? Don't listen to their nonsense.
Yun Qian is an orphan girl Zhao Lin saved a year ago. At that time, she was selling herself to bury her father and was being harassed by a group of local ruffians. Zhao Lin ran into her when he was accompanying me back from offering incense, and so he saved her. He then brought her into the estate to be his personal maid. Yun Qian has a delicate appearance. Her father was once a scholar, so she also knows a bit of literature. Zhao Lin took pity on her miserable background and didn't even let her do the heavy work of a maid. She was only responsible for serving him personally and accompanying him in the study as a beautiful companion. As time went on, I also noticed something was wrong. I hinted to him both directly and indirectly that he was getting too close to his maid. Zhao Lin just smiled and said,
I just see that she has a pitiful background, and am taking a bit more care of her, that is all. I only have you in my heart, Qingqing. You can rest assured.
But during the spring outing, he said Yun Qian was scared to be alone and let her ride in the same carriage with him. During the Lantern Festival, Yun Qian said she had never seen the lanterns in the capital. Zhao Lin then said that I could see the lanterns every year, so missing 1 year wouldn't matter. But he specifically made time to accompany Yun Qian to see the lanterns. Now, at the Qiqiao Festival, he clearly knew what this red string meant, yet he still, in front of everyone, tied it onto Yun Qian's wrist. Even though I've been reborn and lived this life again, seeing them like this, my throat still feels like it is blocked by a handful of sand, so bitter that I can't speak.
Miss, That Yun Qian is too ungrateful. She clearly knows that you and heir apparent Zhao.
Say no more. Everyone has their own destiny. Heir apparent Zhao and I probably just lacked that little bit of destiny. The next day, before I had even finished washing and dressing, a maid came in to pass a message.
Miss heir apparent Zhao is here. He says he is here to bring you something. Did he bring it himself? He is waiting in the courtyard right now.
I finished getting dressed and went out to see him.
Qingqing, last night was my fault. I accompanied Yun Qian to get something to eat, and we bought a lot of food. I just foolishly forgot to come back and escort you.
It is fine. Lady Yun Qian hasn't seen the pastries and snacks of the capital before. It is only right that the heir apparent accompanied her. Yun Qian has been by his side for a year, saying she hasn't had the capital's pastries. Even he wouldn't believe such words.
This is the pastry I bought. Is it all right to give it to Qingqing as an apology?
Inside was a box of cold, hard pastries. Some were already broken. More importantly, it was a box of osmanthus cake. The heir apparent is very thoughtful.
I never eat osmanthus. The heir apparent might have forgotten. The one who likes osmanthus cake is Lady Yun Qian.
Yun Qian, who had been silent behind him, quickly rushed forward.
Lady Shangguan, I'm sorry. It is all Yun Qian's fault. It is all Yun Qian's fault. I took the wrong food box. Last night, the heir apparent wanted to escort you back to the manor. It was just that I was greedy and bought more pastries. So the heir apparent forgot. Please don't be angry with the heir apparent. If you want to beat or punish me, Yun Qian will accept it.
I don't blame you. It has nothing to do with you. Since the heir apparent is here today, I was just tidying up some things. There are some things I want to give to the heir apparent. These are for the heir apparent. Take them back to the Marquise's manor together later.
Why are you organizing the storehouse at this time?
Because I'm getting married soon. I'm taking inventory of my dowry.
Getting married? This, ha ha ha. I'll go back and discuss it with my parents to see when it would be appropriate to propose. It is just that these past 2 years, the tasks assigned by the emperor have been quite urgent. I was thinking of waiting until I get promoted one more rank for a better future. Then, inheriting the title will be more convincing. Qingqing, you know I will definitely marry you. Can you just wait for me a little longer?
Miss, the palace has sent over Her Majesty, the Empress's wedding gifts, and the wedding dress.
The most eye-catching was the mahogany chest at the very front. Upon opening it, inside was a wedding dress, complete with a phoenix coronet and a ceremonial cape, bearing the mark of an imperially bestowed court garment. This was no ordinary wedding dress for commoners.
Just because I didn't give you the red string yesterday, making you lose face in front of everyone. You're resorting to forcing a marriage. This wedding dress denotes an official rank. Are you trying to use the wedding dress bestowed by Her Majesty to force me to marry you immediately?
The heir shouldn't be someone confined to the inner chambers. Miss Shangguan has known him for so many years and is about to become his wife. Do you still not understand his mind? What the heir needs is a wife who understands him. Not someone who only cares about family status and identity. A vain and greedy person.
Qingqing, you actually have less insight than a maid. You really disappoint me.
You misunderstand, my lord. I don't need you to do anything. I still have to inventory my dowry, so I won't entertain you any longer. 3 days from now is my wedding day. When the time comes, if you
marry me in 3 days. You're so willful. If I don't marry you, I'd like to see you put on a one-woman show and see how you get married.
After saying that, he grabbed Yun Qian and stormed off angrily. The news of my upcoming marriage was somehow spread by someone. It caused a huge uproar. Everyone was waiting to see me make a fool of myself, waiting to see the Marquis of Amping's estate remain completely still, showing absolutely no signs of taking in a new bride. Meanwhile, the entire Shangguan household is beaming with joy, decorating with lanterns and festoons, preparing for the legitimate daughter's wedding. At this point, even the noble ladies I am close with could no longer sit still. They came straight to the Shangguan estate.
I heard Heir Zhao was sent out of town on official business. How could he possibly return to the capital in 3 days? If he doesn't come back, won't you become everyone's laughingstock? Everyone knows you are going to marry him. Preparing all this is just to force the marriage. Why put yourself through this? You are the legitimate daughter of the Shangguan family. You could even marry into the royal family. Why demean yourself like this?
Lord Zhao isn't any good either, making you suffer such humiliation. As for a maid like that, the first thing you should do when you marry in is sell her off. Qingqing, if worst comes to worst, why don't you let my brother marry you? It is better than the groom not showing up on your wedding day.
I never said I was going to marry Zhao Lin.
But everyone knows you have feelings for him.
Isn't he the one you've always wanted to marry?
From the moment he tied that red string onto Yun Qian's hand, I made up my mind. I will not marry Zhao Lin.
If you don't marry him, then who are you going to marry?
On the day of my wedding, when you come to see me off, you will naturally find out.
Still out running errands right before your wedding? Are you really hiding from Shangguan Qingqing? She has waited for you for so many years. Why must you make things so ugly? She has already gone this far. You are a man. What is the harm in giving in? Do you really want her to wear the wedding dress all alone and become the laughing stock of the capital? Do not break her heart, or she might marry someone else. You will regret it when it is too late.
Just as they were speaking, a wedding procession passed by the tavern. The bride was sitting in the sedan chair. Everyone was beaming with joy. That red wedding dress stung Zhao Lin's eyes. Thinking of the person in his heart, if she really put on a wedding dress but couldn't wait for him to come and marry her, she would probably cry.
Fine, at worst I'll just go back and marry her.
Actually, he had thought about getting married a long time ago and had even prepared everything. He rushed back to the capital on horseback, notifying everyone to prepare to marry the Shangguan family's daughter. The entire Marquis of Amping's estate was busy for a whole night before barely managing to get all the things needed for the wedding day ready. The Marquis of Amping's wedding procession was grand, playing music loudly as it passed through the liveliest streets of the capital, running right into the Crown Prince's wedding procession. The two wedding processions passed each other.
The Crown Prince is getting married. Why does that maid beside the bridal sedan chair look so much like the Shangguan family daughter's personal maid?
The wind lifted the curtain of my bridal sedan chair, gently blowing open my red veil. My face caught his eye. He widened his eyes in disbelief.
Qingqing.
Everyone was confused, hurrying to help him up.
What is wrong? Why did you fall off your horse?
What, Qingqing? Aren't you on your way to marry her right now?
The one sitting in the Crown Princess's bridal sedan chair is Qingqing.
You must be seeing things. Brides all look pretty much the same. Hey, don't tell me you're in such a rush to get married that everyone looks like her to you.
Exactly. The Crown Prince's marriage never publicly announced who the Crown Princess is.
But if it were Grand Tutor Shangguan's daughter, how could no one in the court know?
I heard the woman the Crown Prince likes originally had someone she liked,
But later agreed for some reason. Her Majesty the Empress personally bestowed the marriage.
What is going on? Quickly go find out who the Crown Prince married.
The Crown Prince married the legitimate daughter of the Shangguan family, Grand Tutor, Shangguan's beloved daughter.
The people in the Marquis of Amping's wedding procession were all stunned. Zhao Lin felt his mind go completely blank. I actually married someone else. It turns out what I said about getting married in 3 days was true. Only the person I married wasn't him, but the crown prince. He remembered me saying I was taking inventory of my dowry, and remembered me saying there was no need for the heir to worry. Everything had left traces.
How could Miss Shangguan do this? The person she likes is clearly the heir. The heir even said he would marry her. Yet she actually married someone else. Could she really not wait 3 days? Is she that desperate to get married? Fickle and unfaithful. It is simply outrageous.
Shut up.
He charged toward the crown prince's wedding procession. Just as he was about to reach the bridal sedan chair, he was stopped by the guards beside the crown prince.
How bold! You dare to clash with the Eastern Palace's wedding procession?
I am the heir of the Marquis of Amping. The person in the bridal sedan chair. Is it Shangguan Qingqing?
Here, Zhao. Today is our wedding day. By blocking the crown princess's bridal sedan chair. Are you trying to rebel?
Here, Zhao, you and my young lady were childhood friends. The young lady said, there are things left for the heir at the manor. Please go to the Shangguan manor to retrieve them. The young lady is getting married today, and from now on, she is a married woman. It is no longer convenient for her to meet with the heir.
Hair, that is the crown prince. Going up there is courting death. If you offend the crown prince of the Eastern Palace, the Marquis of Amping's manor will be finished. Hair, please do not be impulsive.
Watching my bridal sedan chair go further and further away, and finally being carried into the Eastern Palace. From then on, I had nothing more to do with him.
These are the things the young lady is returning to the heir. Please take them away.
The chest was opened in front of him, and his heart twisted into a knot. Everything inside were gifts he had once given me. The old kite, I still kept it well. A box of jewelry, perfectly intact, neatly arranged. There were also some paintings and calligraphy, some ancient books. Each one was inscribed with the year and month. It was given by Zhao Lin. I had once treasured every single item, and now I was returning them to him one by one. From now on, we part ways, with no further connection. I was the Empress's most favored candidate for crown princess. After I accepted the imperial decree for the marriage, the Empress had the bridal chamber in the Eastern Palace lavishly decorated. It was grand and magnificent. When he lifted the veil, Crown Prince Zhao seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. Regarding Zhao Lin blocking the sedan chair today, I had no prior knowledge of it. I also have no illicit affair with him.
Those matters between you and him, I know a little about them. But since you decided to marry me, I believe you are sincere. Rest assured, since I have married you, I will not doubt you. From now on, you are my crown princess. I will protect you, and I won't let you suffer the slightest grievance.
The wedding night, a harmonious union. We completed the rites of husband and wife.
Qingqing and I are childhood sweethearts. The person she wholeheartedly wanted to marry was me. How could she marry the crown prince? It is just an imperial decree. She must have been forced to marry into the Eastern Palace. How could she possibly like someone else?
But I heard that the young lady of the Shangguan family voluntarily accepted this marriage. When the decree was issued, there was no coercion. It was only after Miss Shangguan agreed to Her Majesty, the Empress, that the marriage was officially bestowed.
How is that possible? Over these past few years, who doesn't know that she has been waiting for me to propose? How could her heart hold anyone else?
But if you count carefully, how many times have you hurt her this past year, right in front of her? You took your little maid out for a spring outing, leaving her to return to the estate all alone. You accompanied the little maid shopping yourself. During the Qiqiao Festival, you actually tied the marriage knot on a servant's wrist. How could you let a noble lady like her save face? Her devotion to you all these years, everyone has seen it. You were blatantly slapping her in the face. It is just that this time, she was completely disheartened. She didn't want to give you another chance, nor did she want to wait for you anymore. She is the legitimate daughter of the Shangguan family. Marrying you would have been marrying beneath her. You took advantage of her feelings for you and acted recklessly. Now look. She has married someone else. For a maid to even become a concubine is already flattering her. How could you, for the sake of a maid, insult the Shangguan family?
But Qingqing knows my true feelings. Even if I was with Yun Qian, it was only because I pitied her. The person I ultimately wanted to marry would only ever be her.
Zhao Lin was dead drunk. In his days, a woman helped him up, calling him just like Qingqing used to.
Brother Lin, you're drunk.
Qingqing, I knew you couldn't bear to leave me. You were bound to come back to me. You wouldn't marry anyone else.
Early the next morning, Zhao Lin was woken up by a slap from the Marchioness of Amping.
You bastard, look at what you've done.
Madam, do not blame the heir. He was drunk.
You wench. If it weren't for you, how would he have ended up in this state? Yesterday you offended the crown prince's wedding procession. Today, when your father returned from court, he came back saying there were nothing but memorials impeaching him. They said you lack moral character and have insulted the crown princess's reputation. The emperor reprimanded your father for failing to discipline you. Now he has to reflect on his mistakes behind closed doors. This is all the trouble you've caused, and that is not the end of it. You actually rolled into bed with a maid. Do you even care about your reputation anymore?
How could it be Yun Qian? I clearly saw Qingqing calling me.
Shut up. Is the crown princess's name something you can just casually say?
Why are you in my bed? How did I end up with you?
I came to bring the heir a hangover soup yesterday. Unexpectedly, the heir was drunk. He was very strong. And just grabbed me. I couldn't break free. Herr, Yun Qian truly didn't want to climb the social ladder. Yun Qian only wanted to serve the heir.
Enough, she is just a maid. Since that is the case, just let her be a concubine. Later, when I marry a wife, I'll just hand her over to my wife to discipline.
Yun Qian stood there, completely stunned. An older servant woman stepped forward.
Congratulations, concubine Yun. Now that you're a concubine, you're considered half a master.
Pestering the master every day, and now you finally climbed into his bed. You're really something. You caused the heir to lose his engagement while you became a concubine yourself. What are you still crying for?
Yun Qian had always thought the heir treated her differently. The way he looked at her was very gentle. To spend time with her, he repeatedly broke his promises to the Shangguan family's young lady. This gave her hope, making her feel she was special, especially on the Qiqiao Festival. When the heir tied the red string representing marriage onto her wrist, she even had the illusion that perhaps she could become the heir's beloved and become the heir's wife of the Marquis of Amping's estate. But when she finally became the heir's bedmate, all she heard was the heir's flippant remark, telling her to just be a concubine. A concubine, a mistress. Just like that, she was dismissed so lightly. From then on, she could no longer stay by the heir's side, only to be placed in the most remote courtyard of the Marquis of Amping's estate, waiting for the heir to occasionally remember her. If the heir's future wife entered the household and graciously allowed her to bear a child, only then might she have a chance to rise above her station. After I became the crown princess, I utilized the Shangguan family's connections and resources to socialize with the titled ladies in the capital, helping the crown prince win over some courtiers, making him even more powerful. And when I hosted the mid-autumn banquet at the Eastern Palace, I saw Zhao Lin once again. For this banquet, the crown prince invited some closely associated courtiers who all brought their families into the palace. Zhao Lin somehow managed to get an invitation and brought Yun Qian into the Eastern Palace. When he saw me, Zhao Lin froze for a moment.
Qingqing, how have you been?
Hair, this is the crown princess. How can you overstep your bounds and address the crown princess by her given name?
Xia, he was by my side. Having entered the Eastern Palace, she was already a 5th-rank female official.
Your Highness the Crown Princess. Have you been well since marrying into the Eastern Palace?
I have been very well. The Crown Prince treats me exceedingly well. I heard the heir is currently looking for a wife. Do you have any candidates in mind? Lady Yun Qian has now become a concubine. I told you. You two are a match made in heaven.
It is not just a twist of fate. I was drunk and made a mistake, which is why I took her in as a bedmate.
On the Qiqiao Festival, the heir disregarded societal norms and gave it to Lady Yun Qian. Everyone has long known the heir's true feelings. A lady smiled and teased the Marchioness of Amping.
Everyone knows about this. The heir made an exception for Yun Qian, taking a concubine before the main wife has even entered the household. The Marchioness just dotes on her son.
In noble families, usually before the main wife enters the household, it is not allowed to take a concubine first. Yet now, the heir of Amping has taken a concubine first. With this, the noble ladies might not be so willing to marry into the Marquise's estate.
Some servants just have ambitions higher than the sky, but unfortunately, they only have the fate of a maid. They use some tricks to gain a little advantage and think they are something special. However, in our estate, before the heir's main wife gives birth to a legitimate son, a concubine is not allowed to give birth to an illegitimate eldest son.
For fear that someone might play tricks, I say it is better to just force down a bowl of contraceptive soup and be done with it once and for all.
All the color drained from Yun Qian's face. She silently glanced at that lady and quietly retreated behind Zhao Lin. Meanwhile, Zhao Lin looked ashen and had no mind to care about her fate. He just turned and went over to the male guests, staying away from the place of trouble. The ladies and noblewomen attending the banquet all had their own motives. Some came to scout for potential matches for their children. Some wanted to see if there was a chance to enter the Eastern Palace as a secondary consort or catch the eye of some noble in the palace. Everyone scattered in the garden, listening to operas, admiring the flowers, and both guests and hosts thoroughly enjoyed themselves as it was nearing the evening banquet. What happened?
It is the heir of Amping. Somehow, he barged into the heated pavilion where Miss Li was resting. Miss Li was changing her clothes, and he caught her right in the act.
Miss Li is the illegitimate daughter of the chief minister of the court of judicature. When everyone rushed over, Miss Li was hiding in Lady Li's arms, crying her heart out.
Crown Princess, Your Highness, you must seek justice for us.
This heated pavilion in the Eastern Palace, how could it not even have a palace maid guarding the door? Those who don't know better might think the Crown Princess did it on purpose.
Go investigate. Where did the person guarding the warm pavilion go? How could such a major incident happen? If it is dereliction of duty, beat them to death with a cane. The palace maid guarding the door was quickly found. Spare my life, Crown Princess. It was Heir Zhao's concubine who said her clothes were dirty and asked me to find a change of clothes. I thought since Miss Li was in the warm pavilion and they are both girls, it wouldn't be a problem. Who knew the heir would appear here? Marchioness Amping, you caused such a scene. Shouldn't you give me an explanation? Yun Qian, are you afraid Miss Li won't tolerate you entering the estate? If Zhao Lin marries a concubine-born daughter, it would actually be easier for you to survive.
Heir, it is not like that. I don't know anything. Crown Princess, you married the Crown Prince yourself, yet you still want the heir to be unable to let you go. So you deliberately wanted the heir to marry a girl from an obscure family, so she would be easier to control, right? I clearly saw you and the heir having a secret rendezvous in the back garden just now. This is probably a trap you set, isn't it?
Insolent, what a sharp tongue. How dare you act tough in front of the Crown Princess? Qingqing, don't be afraid. I will seek justice for you.
Miss Li, concubine Yun. The play you two plotted is quite flawless. It is a pity the plan you discussed behind the rockery was overheard by a eunuch. Do you want me to call him up to confront you? Miss Li wants to marry the heir promised concubine Yun as long as the matter succeeds. After entering the estate, concubine Yun will be allowed to bear the heir's child, and concubine Yun would find a way to let the heir bump into Miss Li changing clothes, forcing him to marry her. Truly impressive. Madam Li, Marchioness Amping. Are you two satisfied with this result?
It is all because this concubine was lax in discipline, allowing the people in our household to commit such a grave mistake.
You have disrupted the crown princess's mid-autumn banquet. What should be your punishment?
I stood up, feeling a stifling tightness in my chest from their commotion. We can only let them marry and become in-laws. Discuss the details among yourselves. However, Miss Li and Yun Qian harbor wicked intentions. They are ordered to copy the rules for women 500 times. Suddenly, a wave of dizziness hit me. My vision went black, and I collapsed into the crown prince's arms.
The crown princess has fainted. Summon the imperial physician. Quickly.
The mid-autumn banquet was hastily dispersed. The heir of the Marquis of Amping was betrothed to the illegitimate daughter of the chief minister of the Dali court. But the even bigger news was that I was diagnosed as pregnant. The emperor and empress were overjoyed. Rewards flowed into the eastern palace like an endless stream. Because the scandal caused by the heir of the Marquis of Amping and the illegitimate daughter of the chief minister of the Dali court had disturbed my pregnancy, Her Majesty the Empress was furious. She dispatched 2 discipline matrons to properly teach them the rules. Having the Empress send discipline matrons was the ultimate slap in the face for any noble household. It meant that the family was unrighteous and lacked proper discipline, which was why they received such a punishment. Now that I was pregnant, I no longer wanted to pay attention to the affairs of their 2 families. But rumors and gossip still gradually reached my ears. After Zhao Lin married Miss Li, the Marquis of Amping's estate knew no peace. The first thing Miss Li did upon entering the household was to reward Yun Qian with a bowl of sterilizing potion.
If it weren't for her terrible idea, why would I have become the laughingstock of the capital?
My lord, it was her idea. Now she has married you as she wished, yet she comes to harm me. My lord, you must divorce her.
It is perfectly justified for a primary wife to discipline a concubine. How can I divorce her just like that?
Seeing Zhao Lin remain completely indifferent, Yun Qian felt deeply resentful, but on second thought, she had been force-fed the sterilizing potion and could never have children again. If she let someone else give birth to the heir's flesh and blood, how could she be willing to accept that? In for a penny, in for a pound, she simply drugged the soup of the heir and his wife. Since she couldn't have children, then no one else would either. When half a year passed after the heir's wife married into the estate with no news of a pregnancy, they called for a doctor to check her pulse, only to discover that she was unexpectedly barren. Upon investigation, they found that the soup tureen used for daily stewing had been soaked in a medicinal potion. She and the heir drank it every day, cutting off their lineage. Tracing it back, it was Yun Qian who had tampered with it. Zhao Lin was furious, yet he couldn't bear to put her to death. But how could the heir's wife tolerate this? She directly tied her up and sent her to the authorities. With this, it became known to everyone. Everyone knew that the Marquis of Amping's estate had lost its lineage, with no hope of recovery, and Yun Qian was sentenced to facial tattooing and exiled 3,000 miles away. When I heard this news, I was with the crown prince, preparing to welcome the new life in my womb. This child's birth was difficult. I writhed in pain at death's door. After 2 days of agony, I finally gave birth to a healthy baby boy.
Congratulations, Your Highness. The crown princess has given birth to a little prince. Both mother and son are safe.
The fragrance of flowers drifted in from outside the window. Spring had arrived. From now on, spring would be warm, and flowers would bloom. It was truly a beautiful season.